Right.
That's undermining her. And unless you really believe what she wants to do is dangerous, that's not going to get you anywhere. It's going to cause more conflict. The thing is, look for situations, look for problems that are not being dealt with. Be aware, and then step forward and find a solution and implement it. And at first she might see you as like, "Whoa, what's going on?" Like, not take you seriously. But if you just keep doing that, you'll be her hero, because that's what she wants. She wants some guy who doesn't leave it all to her. So he sees what's going on, he steps forward, and he deals with it. That will make you a leader. That will make you a decision maker. And if you do something, and like taking responsibility, big complaint I hear, like men will complain that, oh, my wife pushed me into that, and it turned out to be a disaster, just like I knew it would, and then they blame their wives. Don't blame your wife. You went along with it. Take responsibility. Nobody have any sympathy for you. Nobody has any sympathy for a man who says, I'm a victim of my wife. If you went along and take responsibility for it, you're the leader. People look to you. You let it go on.
So does a leader engage his troops? I mean, what I'm saying, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you work in tandem and you discuss everything before you actually make a decision, is that the ultimate to get the best results?
Well, of course. I mean, if your wife gives you feedback, if you're doing something and she gives you feedback and she makes you realize, oh, I didn't think of that aspect. There is some issues here I didn't think of. Well, that's the great thing about having a partner. But sometimes men will say, whenever I try to show leadership, she undermines me. You have to really look at, well, is she testing you to see if you're really strong? Because that's what it is sometimes. Is what she's saying really just a test, and you have to show.
Or could it also be an expression of I'm not happy or something like that? Because, I mean, if we look at the topics that sort of couples argue the most about, I think financial is one, religion is two, and the children probably three, right? So, is it always a test, or is it sometimes actually more of a statement or an expression of I'm really not happy here, or I'm not going along with this?
Well, that's what you have to use your judgment. Is she making a valid point, or is it a test? Because sometimes it is a test. She's really saying, are you strong? Do you mean it? Are you going to step forward and do this? Or it could be that she's telling you some very valid points. And yes, of course, that's the beauty of having a partner, is that, yeah, gee, you made a good point. I didn't realize that. I'm going to change my plan to incorporate what you said.
So if a relationship is in trouble, what do you recommend a man do in a leadership role to get the relationship back on track? First thing.
It's really stepping forward, seeing the things, what's going on. Like so many men, marriages are in trouble. They just don't understand. Like they'll say, well, my wife says I don't do enough at home, but I do everything. I do all this. And I tell them that you don't realize what she means is you're not showing leadership. You're waiting for her to tell you everything to do, and she's very frustrated with that because she wants a man, not a nanny, not one of the children. So step forward, be aware of what's going on. Listen to your children, listen to your wife, know what's going on in the home, know what's the situations, the problems that need to be dealt with. Step forward, find solutions.
So can you just illustrate the one example, like one move or one thing that they could actually do to get the ball rolling?
Well, let's say
because you can't just say, "Oh, be a leader." You can't make somebody who's not a leader wake up and smell the roses and just be a leader like that. So, just one exercise or one thing that they could do one day when they wake up and let's say they've had the revelation that something's wrong.
Well, let's say you have children, and let's say one child's having trouble at school, and your wife has been trying to deal with it with teachers and everything, and there's really no progress, and you see people just giving up. So you say, well, let me try something. I have some ideas. Go to the internet, go to the library, find some books, get some other opinions, and say, here, let's try this. I have another idea, and just do it, and see the results. And even if it doesn't succeed, it's like, well, at least this person is awake, he's alert, he knows what's going on, he's trying to resolve problems. It'll make a big impression.
So be more active, more actively
take
involved.
Initiative.
Well, you know how hard it is actually sometimes to actually change, right? In fact, they say you can't change people. Don't marry somebody that you think you're going to change, right?
Because they're never going to change.
But are we not asking men to really make a significant change here, Elliott?
Well, there's a saying, you can't change other people. The only person you can change is yourself. So if you arrived at a situation and you realize things are not good, and I've given up waiting for my wife to change, waiting for everybody else to change. I have to change because I'm the only person, I have total control over my behavior. So you have to catch yourself when you're falling back into your old patterns of behavior. You can change yourself, and by changing yourself, you'll change how people around you respond to you.
You know, I'm wondering though if maybe, and I don't know if this is a suggestion or a feedback or whatever, but maybe it's like, because you know, how many times have, I'm speaking personally here, Elliott, read a book, a self-help book or any kind of book, and I get to the last page and I turn it and I go, oh yeah, so my life isn't changed yet. You know, I wonder if it takes more sometimes than a book, whether maybe a course to teach men how to be the strong man, you know, so they get reinforcement, they get some training, some practice, and that's
one of the things that happens is people form men's groups where they talk about this journey and try to grow together, and they catch themselves, right? They give feedback to each other, and the thing is to catch yourself when you're falling back into your old pattern and saying, hey, wait, I was just about to say, you know, I'm asking this girl out, and I'm about to say, well, let's go eat. Where do you want to go? Wait. I'm going to catch myself. I'm going to say, you know, I think there's this great restaurant down the street here. I think we would both enjoy it. She'll like that a lot.
You know,
more.
maybe I just had the idea too. It seems that we in our culture we're so used to try to please other people.
Well, right? Women for sure are. They're raised to please other people, particularly
and now guys
men.
are doing it too. Obviously,
yes,
I think that's
to some
one
extent.
of the problems that Elliott's trying to address here. So we're so busy trying to imagine what other people want. Like in the restaurant example, oh, maybe she wants Indian food, or maybe she wants Chinese, or whatever it is, right?
Why not just come right out and ask?
How about say what you want? I really want to go get a hamburger or a steak or whatever it is, right? And say, why don't we go there? Just get in touch with what you want.
I think it's good to consider the other person and think, well, I think we would both enjoy this restaurant. Instead of, if you're leaving it to her, then see, part of the trick is it's avoiding responsibility, because then if it's a bad choice, well, then she can't blame me, right? If she chooses a restaurant that's bad, well, then she can't blame me. That's part of it. But no, take a step forward. You know, be a man with a plan. Say, let's go to this restaurant. I think we'd both enjoy it. And if you want to go for a steak and she's a vegetarian, she'll tell you, you know?
Yeah.
What about, like, the whole compromise thing? I mean, you know, let's say one day you're having a craving for a burger or something of that nature. And so we go to the burger place because that's your craving. Now, maybe next week I have a craving for seafood, so you take me where I want to go. We compromise.
No, that's fine, Jeanette. I think the point that I'm trying to make is there's a lot of guys who make no decisions. That's fine if, you know, sometimes, you know, you're choosing restaurants. Sometimes a man decides, sometimes a woman chooses. But we're talking about, and like women tell me, there's men who won't make any decisions, who always want the woman to decide. I mean, I've heard 18-year-old girls say, the guy calls them up, asks them out, says, okay, let's go out. Oh, okay, where would you like to go? What time should I pick you up? Well, what kind of date is that? Like, be a man with a plan. Like, show me that you can make a plan. That's what it is. It's not about controlling. If you know, if he never said, oh, well, you know, we'll never do it your way, well, that's being controlling. But if you never say, have a plan, you're always saying, let her decide everything. You know, I tell men, you know, when a woman goes out with you, she's looking at you as a potential partner. And in life, there's lots of challenges and problems. And if you can't even make decisions about what restaurant to go to or what table to sit at, how are you going to deal with a real problem? I mean, that's what she's looking at.
Yeah.
That's the message she's getting.
Well, that's great. Now, I understand, Elliott, this book's been translated into 19 languages.
19 languages.
So you're like changing the world here, right?
That's the goal. It's amazing. Eh? Like I said,
one country at a time, huh?
A lot of these countries where you thought, you know, Brazil, where the whole idea of machismo originated, it's published by a very prestigious publisher in Brazil. And you know, the ideas change the world. It's amazing that these ideas that are not working have become so pervasive all over the world. Mm-hmm. So we got to change it. That's the goal.
Well, that's great, Elliott. And here's the book again. And we got a couple copies to give away.
Yes.
I think still. Where is it? There it is. Being the Strong Man a Woman Wants in 19 languages. This one's in English, though. And you can give us a call here, 416-204-9723. And we got a couple of books to give away and something else too, right?
Well, I'm giving away on my segment a 30